Accent is a program about us and our lives. Each one of us belongs to a certain ethnic group, nation, and culture. From early childhood, we learn to perceive the world with the help of our native language, customs, and traditions. As we go about our daily lives, run errands, go to work, attend school, we all become one entity. We become a society, the citizens of our country. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching our program, The Accent. Today we will talk about the Crimean Tatars. Historically, the land of this nation lies between Asia and Europe, on the eastern and western banks of the Black Sea. Their land is full of spectacular natural sights, and the folk has unusual and unique traditions. The Crimean Tatars, just like other nations, also live in other countries, and Kazakhstan is no exception. Each nation has unique traditions. When we talk about unusual traditions of the Crimean Tatars, we mean a particular tradition of serving coffee to the most respected guest. It is inevitable because since the ancient times, coffee was one of the most expensive drinks. When the hostess invites someone for coffee, she says, if the coffee is served before lunch, and if coffee is served after lunch, she says,
Крымские татары или Крым-татарлар, Крымцы, народ, сформировавшийся.
The Crimean Tatars, or Crimea Tatarlar, is the nation established in the Crimea Peninsula. The Crimean Tatar nation can be considered relatively young, but still many nations played special roles in the culture of our nation. The Crimean Tatar migration started right after the Crimea Khanate in 1783. At the time, the peninsula population had 87.6% of Crimean Tatars. 75% of the population died during the hunger in the 20s and 30s. The life of the Crimean Tatars was not easy in 1944. The Tatars went through hard times. They were moved from their land to Kazakhstan, to the city of Uralsk. Up till 1957, the Crimean Tatars were not allowed to be considered as a separate nation. Only in 1990 to 1992, around 200,000 people from all over the world returned to their historical land. But many Kazakhstani Crimean Tatars decided to stay in Kazakhstan. Crimean Tatars have been living here for over 70 years. Part of them left for Crimea. A large number remained, but still, the friendship between the Kazakhs and Tatars remains. We live in a friendly community. We share what we have, and of course we are grateful to the Kazakhs for giving shelter to our people during the most difficult times of the 1950s. Kazakhstan has a cultural center of the Crimean Tatars. The center was opened on July 16, 2010. And over the past 4 years, the cultural center of the Crimean Tatars has much developed and held many events. The main goal of our cultural center is to defining the standards of democracy, bringing up the Crimean Tatar youth in a patriotic way. Of course, it is noticeable now. We get assistance in opening the cultural centers, where we make films, open dancing and music clubs. I am grateful to everyone. Niyata Suleimanova is a young Crimean Tatar, a citizen of Kazakhstan. She always feels the protection and love of her homeland. In return, she made a movie called Sea Melancholy. It is worth noting that the young and talented Niyata graduated from the Cinema and Television Faculty of the Kazakh National Academy of Arts, named after Timirbek Zhurgenov. The idea was to make a film about Crimean Tatars. I had this idea for 5 years that I spent here in the Art Academy, and I decided to choose this subject for my diploma work. Make a film about my nation to support it. Our nation suffered a lot. It went through tragedies, the deportation of the Crimean Tatars, and war. We had this task to make a documentary with a main hero. And as the main hero, I chose a person from our cultural center, Yakub Agay, the chairman, the oldest member who has seen a lot in his life, who knows very well both the Crimea and Kazakhstan. This was all real. There is a line in the film, as Yakub Agay says, that we will go to paradise, and really it turned out that we are in paradise. Throughout its history, this great nation experienced many hard moments. The film touched the souls of many spectators as the director tried to show the love and longing for the homeland of all Crimea Tatars. In Kazakhstan, the Crimean Tatars live a peaceful and harmonious life. Each has his or her own talent. The people of this nation really like drawing and painting. Maybe this is why there's so many artists among them.
Я работаю в школе учителем изобразительного искусства, черчения, посещаю исторические места моих предков.
I work as a teacher of art and drawing in school. I visit historical places of my ancestors, the Crimea Peninsula. When I was there, I made a pencil sketch, and when I came back home and finished a painting called Swallow's Nest, which is in Crimea, near the Black Sea. The history of this painting is very interesting. The architects made this kind of structure and called it the Swallow's Nest. It is painted using oil on canvas, free space, and seagulls. I like painting the sea a lot because the sea inspires me and brings up my spirit.
Воодушевляет меня, поднимает настроение. Начал рисовать с малых лет, но первая выставка у меня...
I started painting when I was little, but my first exhibition was in 1992 in the ACF Cultural Center. And since then, I've had a lot of exhibitions. People from Canada and people from Germany attended my exhibition. They like our Chimbulak, the rink itself, the ice skating rink in Chimbulak. I painted often. Well, it is Kazakhstan that taught me painting, because the places here are so beautiful. I haven't seen more beautiful places. Maybe I feel this way because it is my motherland. My parents are from Crimea, and of course I want to paint more of Crimean scenery, but I don't go there often. You need to be there, feel the nature, and then you can paint it. But mostly I have Kazakhstani mountains. Look here, the mountains with trees. It is so beautiful in spring. This is our national landmark. Or look at Jailao. Here is Jailao before the rain. I like to work with pure traditional things like kokpar or hunting with the Kazakh greyhound Tazi. Here they are preparing for hunting in the morning. Here they are on the move, chasing the saigak. Here I showed the morning nature, and I called it while everyone is asleep. It is not only painting that attracts me in Kazakhstan, but painting helps me. Kazakh music, especially the kyu, which is played on the dombra, like the sound of the river, you know, it is very inspiring. The Crimean Tatars, just like many ancient nations, are known for their unique traditions. One of these traditions is called 3 generations and symbolizes respect for the elderly.
Когда здороваются младшие со старшими, это целование руки.
When the young are greeting the elderly, they kiss the hand, which means the younger comes up, waves hello, takes his right hand, then brings it to his lips, and then to his forehead. This means respect to the elderly. This is an ancient tradition that probably appeared with the nation, and we follow it until present. This refers both to the men and women, and a girl can kiss her grandmother, grandfather, and father, in other words, the elderly. The same goes for the men too. The idea is he or she respects and loves this person.
Смысл только такой, что вот уважает, любит даже этого человека.
The Cultural Center frequently has lessons of the Crimean language and history in order to preserve Crimean Tatars' native language and history, especially for young generations. And today's lesson is devoted to one of the greatest representatives of the nation, Ismail Gasprinsky. For 700 years, our Crimean Tatar language was using the Arabic alphabet, and only in 1928 we switched to Latin, when our language was announced a language of state and literature. In 1938, we switched to the Russian alphabet. I mean, you asked if you have any sounds that are different. Yes, the Russian alphabet has 33 letters, and the Crimea Tatar alphabet also has 33 letters. The only difference is that we don't have the letter Z, same as many other Turkic nations, and Se. But we have the letter Z and hard K. Kara, for instance, Kardashim, is written with a hard sound. And also we have a letter J instead of Z.
Исмаил Гаспринский родился в Бахчисарае, в Крыму.
Ismail Gasprinsky was born in Bakhchisarai in Crimea. If we're talking about his deeds for the Turkic, well, for the whole Tatar Turkic world, then he is the most honorable and great man. He was called the Great Teacher because he was the first one to organize a new teaching method for the first grades. And for this new method, he created an alphabet, dictionaries, and handbooks, both for the teachers and for the students.
Пособие как для преподавателей, так и для школьников.
This great educator and philosopher had been taken as a model by such intellectuals of the Kazakh steppes as Ahmet Baytursenov, Mirjaqip Tulatov, and many others. Traditional dress, a mirror of the nation. In general, the Crimean Tatar traditional dress is very much like the dress of the Turkic nations. For instance, the collars and the sleeves in traditional dresses are decorated with golden ornaments. Besides, the traditional dress of the women represents femininity, honesty, and beauty, and the men's dress has been the symbol of masculinity and energy. When creating the dress, the ancient people followed one goal: comfort. The Crimean women's traditional dress consisted of long, bright-colored dresses, and the men put on the karakul hats and golden belts. Crimean Tatars' traditional cuisine is rich in meat dishes, and they like to add greens into their meals. One of such traditional meals is чебурекс. Today we will cook a Crimean Tatar dish called чебурек. So we need an onion, meat. It is desirable to use lamb fat, black pepper, and salt. And also we need flour, salt, and water to make the dough. First of all, the onions should be crumbled.
Мелко нарубаем лук.
I chop it, and then I take the meat stuffing and mix it with the onion.
Далее я беру фарш и добавляю туда лук. После добавления лука я добавляю.
After that, salt and pepper should be added.
После этого, для того, чтобы фарш был сочным,
After that, the water should be added to make the meat stuffing in the chiburek more juicy. Then you should mix all ingredients together. For the dough, we need flour, salt, and water.
на определенные доли, длину. Скатываем. Тесто должно получиться блинчика. Закрываю второй половиной, мы приминаем пальчиками края.
These days, the chibureks are a very common dish, and many nations like them. The history of its name is quite interesting. The name of chiburek is unique. A long time ago, when I was little, my grandma told me where this name came from. When you cook chiburek, it is fried in the pan, and the juice is coming out, making a chirp sound like a bird. So for hundreds of years, it was called chiburek.
Buyurunuz sofraga, aş tatlı olsun.
The Crimean Tatars very much like singing. They are very fond of music. When you listen to their lyric compositions with the wind instruments and drums, you can dive into the world of this nation.
Esken yerler yüzüme vurdu. Balalıktan osken evge göz yaşım düştü. Men bu yerde yaşamadım, yaşlılığıma doyamadım. Vedanıma hasret oldum, ey güzel Kırım. Men bu yerde yaşamadım, yaşlılığıma doyamadım. Vedanıma hasret oldum, ey güzel Kırım.
The Kazakhs have one proverb: motherland is much hotter than fire. And today, for 3,000 Crimean Tatars, Kazakhstan is not less hot than their historical motherland. For me, the historical motherland is Crimea, of course. I miss Crimea. We go there to visit, but it is our historical motherland. And most of these who were born here consider Kazakhstan as their motherland. Of course, since we live in Kazakhstan, we are patriots of our country. Our community, our youth that studies here now, they will also participate in the program 2050. This means that we as citizens will be striving for Kazakhstan to be among the 30 most developed countries of the world. First of all, the motherland, for me, is where I was born and live until now. I think your motherland is when you feel good, when your family is with you, when your soul is in peace and life is good.
жемат. Біз Қазақстанны, Крым татарларын, жематын сіздерден епсілерге селям айтамыз. Епсі халық мабетлі, бақытлы olsun. Епсілерге селям айтамыз.
Dear friends, we are the Crimean Tatars of Kazakhstan sending you our greetings. We wish to all the nations of Kazakhstan and the world friendship and peace among nations, health and happiness for everyone. Over 130 nations reside in Kazakhstan today, and we will continue talking about their traditions and particular features in our next programs. For now, the time for this issue of The Accent has ended. We'll see you soon.